In honor of Trey's birthday, I wanted to read you some of his thesis, which is the basis of Gamehenge. Most people have not actually read it, and I just want to show you. I don't want to read it all out verbatim, but I just want to show you what he was talking about and maybe explain some of the musical things in it. So it starts with that he received a letter in the mail, and it had a poem that said, I've alternated my meager flock to the shores of the Baltic Sea. The teeth of time have stowed the rhyme of how things shouldn't be. My cave, my house, my turning wheel, my little docking pup. The march of Colonel Forbin and his fleet hound called McGrupp. All times and seasons are the reasons people and their clans have stowed the famous mockingbird with glue and rubber bands. We lie on frozen warthogs with its poison in our minds, while the ferns that spot our children are encased in orange rinds. Da 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 da. Okay, he says, I mounted the poem on my door where it remained undisturbed for about a year until last semester. I was working on a musical for children at that time called Gus and the Christmas Dog. It was the story of a 10-year-old child who gets a dog for Christmas. The dog runs away in New York, and the plot revolves around the search for the lost dog in the city on Christmas Day. The project was coming along fine, but I was yearning for something a little more engaging, both musically and thematically. It was at that time that I decided to do an interpretation of the poem as a musical. I told you guys, it's a musical. The basic idea for the story grew out of a union of the poem and a song that I had written with the author of the poem and some other friends a few years earlier. The song was called Wilson, Can You Still Have Fun? Like the poem, it was primarily nonsense, and my first job was to interpret it. It went like this. Oh, out near the Stonehenge, I lived alone. Oh, out near Gamehenge, I chafed a bone. Wilson, King of Prussia, I lay this hate on you. Wilson, Duke of Lizards, I bet it all troon for you. Talk, my Duke a Mountain, helping friendly book. In as far as fiefdom, I think you bad crook. Wilson, King of Prussia, I lay this hate on you. Wilson, King of Lizards, I beg it all troon for you. I talked to Mike Christian, Rog and Pete the same. Then we had that meeting over down near the game henge. Wilson, King of Prussia, I lay this hate on you. Wilson, Duke of Lizards, I beg it all troon for you. Now you've got me back thinking that you're the worst one. I must inquire, Wilson, can you still have fun? All right, what does he say about this? So with these two pieces in hand, I began to build a story that was utterly deliberate out of two poems that were completely unintentional. And over the semester, I've discovered that this process is what I do best. I found that my strongest skills lay in taking small bits and pieces that fail to stand on their own and designing a context in which they become purposeful. Throughout the process of writing, I found that each time I limited myself to a rigid, concrete storyline, a sense of stagnation would set in. It seemed much more natural to let the ploy, or plot maybe, develop as the things grew. Song by song. Of course, with each new song, the plot became less and less flexible, but even then, writing the very last song, I found that it was better not to get hung up on details. Eventually, the entire story seemed to fall naturally into place. The Random House Dictionary defines composition as the act of combining parts or elements to form a whole, and in this sense, my skills are the skills of a composer. Both musically and lyrically, I approached my senior study from a compositional angle. When writing music, I usually kept a pad of manuscript paper with me and record musical ideas when they occur. Later, when I begin work on a song, I will go back to the pad and utilize some of these ideas as I see fit. This semester, I decided to expand on this idea, so I purchased a large hardcover book with blank pages that I carried around with me for the entire semester. I wrote lyrics, narrative musical ideas, and observations whenever something would come to me. I then used the ideas in this book to compose the musical. In this paper, I hope to shed some light on the process of the composition. Thank you. So guys, when I decided that I wanted to write a Fish musical, putting together songs that Fish has written and making a new story about it, I'm literally following Trey's own idea about what composition should be, and that a musical should take free form based on these random poems. And then he built a whole story about two things that he already had. So if I want to build a story around Fish songs that already exist, that's exactly what Trey wants. So don't tell me I don't know Fish. I know Fish. All right, the next segment in this series will be about the lizards, and I'm going to go into the compositional explanations, and I'll actually even play the piano part as he talks about it. So subscribe if you want to know more about Trey's thesis and me explaining what he's talking about musically.